Hello everyone, this is Luke. I'm a community manager at All In Games, and I'm joined here by David, who is our event manager, and Charlie from Dreamplant, developer of Arboria, a game we just released on Steam in early access. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah, and we would also like to welcome everyone watching us either on Steam, YouTube, and Twitch. We will be monitoring the chat during the whole stream, so if you have any questions regarding the game, please feel free to ask. We are going to do our best to answer all of them right away. And now let's start Arboria, a 3D rogue-lite action game. Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So I'm going to run the tutorial, which is what, the new players will have. Like, this will be their first experience with the game. And I can just tell you a little bit about it as we play. So, you play as a troll. At the start of every run, it's basically a randomly generated troll. So, during the tutorial, you play as this one called Gobok. And he's very important for the story. But, you'll find out more about that later on, so I don't want to spoil anything. And like right now we can see as well, we've got our fairy with us, which is like your companion in your adventure underground. So, I'm just going to go and grab this weapon, because you need all the help you can get down here. And as you can see, like, weapons in this game are like a part of your character, so you actually mutate and sort of grow them on. They're kind of like symbiotic weapons. And yeah, like, we can lock on, we can do some heavy or light attacks. We can sort of dodge as we're attacking as well, so we can sort of cancel out of animations, which helps the game feel quite fluid. And yeah, like, the tutorial is just going to walk you through all the basic stuff. So we've got, like, armor here, which is also, attaches to you, like part of your skin. We've got traps all along the floor here, so you want to kind of avoid things like this swinging axe. This fire pit, like, fire's bad, so probably don't walk on fire. That's my opinion of that.
That's a pretty good idea, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, like, at PAX, everyone stood on the fire. Like, they all went to check it out. They were just interested. And like right here we have our healing rune, which does what it says. You get 3 charges of it. It will heal you like a certain amount. And when we get into the dungeon, I can explain a little bit more about it because there's some caveats to that. Right here we have crystallized Vary, which is basically the currency of the game. Your fairy will collect it, so she like actually vacuums it in, and in her inventory slots she actually carries it. So you can see she doesn't have many slots at the moment. In future updates she'll be able to actually upgrade her and increase her inventory and stuff. But at the moment, she's quite limited to how much she can carry. Mm-hmm. But the Vary stack's quite high, so you usually can get through a floor without being like completely full of Vary. So I'm just going to grab some, even though that's the tutorial, this is like what you should be grabbing when you're actually in the dungeon, because it's going to really help you out later on. We've got some story here. Also in future updates, we actually have planned voiceovers for all of the characters and stuff, so the story will be a bit easier to take in. Yeah, basically the troll shouldn't have put the hat on, but he put the hat on anyway. Because trolls aren't the smartest things.
You said about the random generated trolls. Could you tell me something about the differences between?
Of course, yeah. So at the beginning of every run, you get to choose between. It depends, actually. Like, there's lots of rules and stuff set in place, but let's just say 3 for now. It will definitely be the case when I finish the tutorial. I get to choose between 3. they will have different traits which will help them differently, in the dungeon. They all do like different things. So they'll have different traits and different stats and different weapon proficiencies as well. Like one could be good with an axe, but the other could be good with a sword, for example. And it's all random, so you never know what you're going to get. And when we get to the spawner, I'll explain a little bit more and be able to show in slightly more detail about that. Because the actual look of the troll is also dependent on the traits. So that's quite an interesting feature. So when they have a few traits, they take on the appearance of like both the traits. They'll have like a dominant one and a less dominant. Okay, that's this room cleared out. Now, this is another really important thing to keep your eyes peeled out for in the dungeon. This is a root of the Father Tree. We'll meet him in just a bit after this tutorial ends. And the Father Tree's sick, and we basically need to go down into the dungeon to heal his roots. And by healing them, we actually unlock NPCs in the village, like different merchants and stuff that will be able to upgrade you to make the runs easier. So once you start a route event, you basically just have to kill waves of enemies. At the moment we've got 2 waves with 5 enemies. And then once you do that, the route will actually heal you. Oh, we've got a slightly tougher enemy. You need to be careful with these ones. So yeah, once you finish the event, you actually get healed as well, which is a great thing. So if you're low on HP and you've run out of rune uses, you can try to complete in a route event, and it will heal you to max HP, which is super useful for surviving. Okay, so last bit of story for the tutorial, and then we will move on to the gameplay loop.
That's the time for it to change.
Okay, so just as a reminder, we are playing Arboria, a 3D roguelite action game. Yeah, because that's not really a roguelike, it's a roguelite. We will talk more about different features of the game and what's roguelite-ish about it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, you can get the game on Steam. We have just released it in early access.
Oh, she's so lonely.
Yeah, well, she just got attacked by, her companion. She thought she had a friend, and really, it didn't go too well. And now, to sum up the story very quickly, the shaman is asking the fairy what happened, and how did the troll go mad? All of the stuff revolving around this hat that he found. And more of this will be revealed the further down you get in the dungeon. You actually can find out more about what caused Gobok to go mad, and there's a lot to discover when you get deeper down. But I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll leave that for players to find.
Don't spoil too much.
Of course. And now we get to choose our trolls. So this is the spawner at the start of every run. Like I said before, you get to choose between randomly generated trolls. Like I mentioned, their appearance is based on their traits. So someone that has heavy feet, which you can see in the top right of the screen, will always look like this. Someone that has rage will always look like this, and someone that has sixth sense will always look like this. But it gets interesting when you get trolls with double traits, because if you had one that had heavy feet and rage, it would be like a mixture of both, which is always creates interesting looking guys. And this guy, I think, is the best one looking at them, because he's got pretty good stats. You can see on the left, he's got 15 in toughness, strength, and focus. These all affect your troll in various ways. For example, certain weapons react differently to certain stats. So an axe reacts to strength, so a higher strength stat will make your axe stronger. Focus is the scythe, and toughness is the sword. So having 15 on everything is good because, he's an all-round good player. These are all like 15 and 10, so we'll take this guy. We could change his name, but I think we'll keep Globfar. Because
we have few different stats over here, like mana regen resistance, but we also have a break. What is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good of you to notice. So break basically determines if the enemy will be knocked back. So if they get any sort of hit stun from your hit.
Mm-hmm.
So the higher your break, the more likely an enemy is to be staggered when you hit them. And they sort of just, they get a hit reaction, so they're less likely to be able to attack you. So that break is very useful when you start fighting stronger enemies. At the start with the flies, break, it would be useful, but it's not necessary to like beat the starting enemies, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the others are pretty self-explanatory, I think. It's just main weapon damage, resistance, and mana regen. So yeah, I think the rest should be fine. Are there any other questions before I leave the screen?
No, I think we can just keep moving.
We can go. Let's go. So you accept and begin. Your troll is born from the father tree. Born as an adult. That's interesting lore we've got there. And now we can go to the village shaman. And you can see up there as well, there's one of the NPCs we can unlock. And actually I can show you. This guy, he's a weapon master. And we need to heal 3 more roots. And we'll be able to do some business with him. So let's try to do that. So another important thing is that this game features permadeath. So once this troll goes down into this dungeon, the only way is down. Like, you can't come back up to the village until you die. And then you'll choose a new troll to start the next run with. And when I die, we can we can experience the graveyard and what we have to do to get better trolls. So,
Okay, so yeah, let's go down. Everyone's rooting for you.
thank
do your
you.
best.
I'm gonna try. If I die, it was lag.
Yeah, sure.
Of course, yeah. So there's a little ceremony at the start.
Oh
This
no!
Is also,
Did he just
there's a
dab? Did
He dabbed.
just
He
dab?
dabbed to the gods. The gods are now going to favor this guy. So that cutscene is actually random every time as well. It's split into sections, so you can get a different dance and a different ending every time you watch it. At the moment, there's not that many. Something that will be increased as we go further on. Probably should have explained that whole room, but I sort of autopiloted there. I'm really sorry, but I'll explain it next time we go there.
Okay.
But
I'm
that's
just going to interrupt
basically-
you for a second.
Go ahead.
There's a Mikuna on our YouTube saying the game looks nice. So that's really good. Thank you, Mikuna,
Oh.
for sharing. And
Thank you very
also, thank you everyone for watching. This is the live stream, a release live stream of Arboria 3D action rogue-lite game from Dreamplant Studios. And we owning games. The game has just been released on Steam in early access. You can already get it, and you can already play the nice game. So yeah, go on, Charlie. Now we're
Okay, we're
on
ready.
the loading screen, and we can see the elemental relation chart, right?
I think you're a little bit behind,
Oh,
but
sorry.
it's okay. It's okay. The elemental relation chart. I can quickly explain that while we're here. So there's currently 3 elements in the game. There's fire, ice, or is it frost? I think we call it, and bio. I always get the ice name mixed up. I think it's frost, but it's blue, so it's red, blue, green. Red beats blue. No, wait a minute. This is a good point. 1 second. I need to actually remember, because I always get confused with this, because we've actually planned more elements and it changed slightly. So give me 2 seconds to just run through this and remember.
Go for it.
We have a lot of enemies over here.
So actually we're in a bit of a sticky situation as we've walked into this room, because there's loads of bugs here. Okay, it's ice. That's important. That's important.
So we have red, green, and blue.
Red, green, and blue. That's all you need to know.
And what was that that you punched? The blue thing?
Ah, these
Is that a
are
berry?
yeah, these are crystallized berry. This is like I said, like the currency of the game. So you basically need to collect as much of that as possible. We also got quite a tough enemy here, like straight away. So this guy's a bit difficult to fight and talk.
No
at the
worries.
same time.
Let's
So
say
if you want to
that
talk, that'd be
you
great.
are showing the permadeath feature, how it works.
Yeah.
What
I'm
happens
gonna-
when you die?
I will definitely show that soon. Okay, wait. Whew. We're taking this nice and slow. Sometimes taking it slow is the best option. I've still got my health potions as well. So let's heal up.
So combat looks like a really nailed part of the game.
Yeah, I think it's a part that a lot of focus went into. Because, it's the thing you'll be doing the most. So, we wanted it to feel as responsive and nice as possible. And there's like I said in the tutorial, you can, like, for example, attack and cancel your attack with a dash, which helps you get out of sticky situations.
So you don't have to wait till the end of the animation to...
Yeah, you're not
Your
locked
attack.
in the animation.
so it could be very helpful
which-
during the...
Yeah,
the
I
fights.
think that's really important. Oh. We're going to try this chest here, because I've been sort of dancing around it, so let's just get into it. This is similar to the root event, except I will get loot at the end. So I have to survive waves of enemies. A lot of ranged ones this time.
We got a question. Is this game going to get keyboard support? So I think we can already confirm that you can play Arboria keyboard and
You
mouse.
can, yes.
Charlie just prefers playing on controller.
Yeah, I would recommend controller, but if you prefer keyboard and mouse, there was a person at PAX who preferred keyboard and mouse, and they did really well. So I'm just not very good on keyboard and mouse, so I play controller. But it is fully supported.
Yeah. We also got another question. Like, can you target a monster like in Dark Souls?
Well, I'm showing that off right now. I'm targeting, and then I can untarget, and I can target again, and I can
during
switch
the-
between.
During the
Yeah,
fighting with
that's
a pack of enemies, you can
nice.
just choose this one with the
Yeah.
lowest HP to finish them off as soon as possible.
Yeah, of course, or you can choose the one that looks like the biggest problem, like this guy.
Yeah. So Zbyszek, no worries, you can play on your keyboard and mouse, and I'm sure you're gonna do just fine.
You'll probably do
And
better than me.
Yeah, maybe. I would also like to thank everyone in the chat. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kind words. It's super nice to have you here. And we can wait for you to play Arboria. The game's already out on Steam in early access. So you can get it already or just after the stream. So you can, learn the basics of the gameplay and learn some tricks from Charlie, developer of Arboria from Dreamplant.
The tricks are to not be greedy, I think.
Yeah, and you're just 2 HP? 1?
I'm gonna die here.
Oh, you died. You've been poisoned?
There we go. I was on fire.
Oh, you was on fire.
The creeper basically set me on fire there last second. But this is great because I can explain some graveyard features now, which will be fine. That's exactly what we want to see, right?
It was your head, right?
Yeah, that was my head. So the fairy takes your head back when you die. And if you did well, you'll actually appear in the graveyard, which is basically kind of like a leaderboard, like, you know, for your highest scores. So there's some test guys in here that you can see. So this guy is number 1. He did a lot better than me. He collected a lot of Veri, defeated a lot of enemies. And he was way better than me, basically. And so on and so forth. But this is my guy. I didn't get much Veri because basically when you die, if you don't finish a floor and get to the checkpoint area, which is called the lock, you basically lose most of your Veri. You only keep 10%. So it's kind of Souls inspired in the way that when you die, you lose all your souls, right? And you'd have to go and recollect them. But in our case, it's that when you die, your fairy only keeps 10% of the Veri because, you know, she has to carry your head back, so she can't be carrying all this Veri as well. So yeah, once we are happy with looking at our high score, we can get on to the next important feature, which is the Altar of the Gods. Now, this is going to be really bad for me, but I hope the other players will do better than I just did. But basically, here we can give the gods Veri. So I can decide to give them as much as I want, and this actually increases the chance of them giving me stronger Yotuns to choose from at the start of each run. It's only a bonus for the next run, though. So basically, every time you die, you have to choose if you want to allocate any of your Veri to the gods or not. If you do really well, the gods don't actually want that much Veri from you because they're impressed with how you performed. But then the next time they'll expect more because you performed so well in that run. But because I performed so badly, they're just going to be
the expectations were very, very low.
Yeah, they're just going to be very unhappy with me. So I actually, as you can see on the right side there, it says bonuses, but this isn't. I'm not getting many bonuses here. I'm actually losing a slot of the spawner, so I will only have 2 Yotuns to choose from. I don't have any increase on my stats. I only have a 35% chance that I'll actually have a positive trait. And it's a low chance that I'll get weapon proficiency as well. So let's just see what we get. So we can accept and continue. The shaman will now send whatever we gave to the gods. And as you can see by this beam, yeah, it wasn't much. We didn't send them much. So now we start the loop again. So I got super lucky because both of these guys don't have negative traits. That doesn't happen often, but I'll take it. I think we're going to take this guy because this one is slightly weaker. Although he has... Yeah, I think we'll take this one. So let's go with this guy and try again. I'll try to get further. I'll try to showcase a bit more of the game. Maybe we'll actually finish an event. So we can go back down the hole. Back down into the dungeon.
Okay, in the meantime, we got a question regarding the lore of the game. And before we started, I know you told me that you're not really...
I'm not the lore expert, but
Yeah,
I can do my best to answer your lore question.
So basically, could you give us a hint? What's the backstory of the game? Like a story world of the game? Who are we? Who are we controlling?
Yeah.
Who's this guy who just told you to jump into a big hole? And who are you fighting with?
Okay, so the basics of the story is that this lovely guy in front of us that looks very injured right now He is the father tree, and he's basically he basically gives life to all of these trolls. So these trolls are called Yotuns, which is inspired from Norse mythology. And basically, this tree gives birth to the trolls, and usually they're like a strong and, happy tribe. Like, they have warriors that go down to try to mine Veri to send back up to the gods, because that's where like the whole story comes from, is that the gods want Veri from your the gods want Veri from you, like, as offerings, and they're always watching you. So we're sent down into the mines as these trolls to mine up the Veri and send it back up to the surface. But there's some complications now because the father tree is sick.
Yeah.
So now we're going underground for like two reasons. We're trying to cure our father and find out what's like causing, all this disease that's happening around his roots and stuff. And we're trying to also appease the gods at the same time, because like we've seen, when you do bad, they're not very happy with you. But there's a lot of elements to the story that I can't talk about yet, because they're like massive spoilers. The story sounds simple now, but once we get further down and we get more of the story and like more updates come out, it will start to become a lot more complicated, and you'll start to question, why are we serving these gods? Who are they? Like, what are they doing to this tribe? Who is the tribe? We want it all to be a mystery at the start, so I can't say too much.
Yeah,
but the basics are our enemies are these bugs that are infesting the father tree, and we're trying to appease the gods and heal our father. So that's the best explanation I can give. And while we're down there, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's not really a spoiler. We teased it in some announcements. Like, you are supposed to fight the giant serpent, right? Who's called Jormund.
Jormund.
So yeah, there's a lot of Norse mythology resembling things in the game. Yeah, you're going to find a lot of that.
There is, yeah.
There's also this fairy flying around you. Her name's Rata.
Yes.
What's her role in the game?
So the Rata works as your companion. At the moment in this build, she only really works as your light source and as your backpack, as your inventory space. Like, she collects everything for you, basically. But in future updates, there's plans for her to have like abilities that can help you in battle. So she'll have like special abilities that could range from attacks to buffs. That's still all in development, so we'll find out more about that later on. But at the moment, she's like the only constant thing in this world, right? Because you're always changing trolls, but you always keep your fairy. She's always the same fairy coming back down to help you. So she's like a constant helper, I would say.
Yeah, we were speaking of battles, so I think we could start one right away.
We can go down. Okay, so I can quickly explain this area. This is...
so after each time, if we respawn, we just have to prepare ourselves for another levels, right?
Yes, of course. So we're going back down. This is where we get prepared. So here we have our weapons, our like ability, our secondary weapon, if you will, because it's like each arm, and our healing item. There's also, as you can see, extra slots here, which will be filled when you start upgrading your village later on. So we can equip all. At the moment, we only have access to the axe and the shockwave ability. But once we unlock it to those things, we can actually start getting things spawning down here. We also actually have to find blueprints for the weapon or the ability, but you find them during your runs, so there's a bit of exploration to do as well. So we've got 2 ways we can go here. I think I'm gonna let's just go straight this way. And we've got some flies straight away. The ranged enemies, they don't hit so hard, so not that much of a problem. This guy's a little bit more of a tricky one. He likes to fly around, but we can maybe hit him with a shockwave and just get him finished up. I just want to showcase this as well. You can break into here, and we actually found a totem. You can actually pray at these and it will heal you a little bit. It doesn't heal you that much, but it's nice as well. A nice additional heal is always good.
So I have a question about the healing also.
Yes.
For each maybe level, we have only 3 healing runes, or maybe we can somehow restore the number of it.
So for each floor, you only have 3. And then once you beat a floor, it actually replenishes your healing potions. So at the moment, there's no way of replenishing them while you're on a floor. You can only replenish once you get to the checkpoint area.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to use them wisely, carefully. We're going to jump around here. Okay, so we've done that. This event is slightly different to the big one, in the fact that you only have to stay in the designated area. You don't actually have to kill the monsters there. You just have to survive for long enough for the route to be healed. So let's go exploring. So I can dodge that. And of course, if you have any more questions, you're welcome to interrupt me at any time. I will do my best to try and answer questions.
Okay, so I would like to ask you about right now the development of the game. Yeah, let's get a little backstory, your story. How many people are there in Dreamplant? How long did it take you to bring Arboria to Steam Early Access?
So I joined the company, I think in 2019. I can't remember the exact month off the top of my head. I believe it was September 2019, or was it 2018? You know what? I can't remember exact details for that, but I'm one of the animators and the cinematic artists in Dreamplant working on this game, and this has been in development since I think 2018. I think the start of 2018. And we have been working on getting all the fundamentals down and dusted and adding additional content. Next is the plan. So as far as I'm aware, the plan for development is that we will have monthly updates if everything goes well, with new content. So I guess I can tell them about can I tell them about the next update? The content in it, the first update? Or is that not allowed? What's the situation with that?
I think this coming update, main will be what? Probably the voiceovers, right?
The coming update should be the elemental update where we change the elements. We get 2 additional elements. We get 2 additional weapons. We get some different armors as well. We get some usable items. and some more traits and stuff, and you unlock a new NPC as well for the village. So there's quite a lot in this first update that's all being tested.
So maybe let's share with information about where did you expect to have some feedback from the players for the upcoming months of the early access, right?
Because just one more reminder, like David said, the game is in early access. So it will continue to grow. You will continue to develop it, and I believe that players' feedback, community's feedback, is one of the crucial things for early access development. So where players can share their ideas, their suggestions.
Of course, in like all the usual places, like the Steam, comments and stuff in social media.
We should have appropriate threads in Steam discussions, all dedicated to suggestions and reports and general stuff. Regular chit chat with other players and talking about Arboria, lore, story wall, and stuff. And I think, also another good place is our Discord server. Please feel invited to join us and connect with the tribe, with other players of Arboria. Yeah.
Nice.
So from today we can call the community the tribe. Okay. That's nice.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Also, just so I can quickly say again, next update will also have voiceovers. I think you mentioned that anyway, right? But I definitely didn't. So
tell me what just dropped from the box.
Yes, so we actually beat this event. I didn't realize how hard it is to multitask, actually, to play a game and talk. So I did this event. I had beat 2 waves of enemies, and it dropped some random loot as well. So there's a shockwave. I can compare them. It's exactly the same as what I've got. And there's actually this axe, which is slightly better than the axe I just had, because it has a plus to basic attack damage. But I wanted to showcase a different weapon, so I picked up the scythe, which is slightly quicker. It's actually my favorite weapon in this build. So it's a lot of fun to play with. So let's hope I don't die straight away.
It looks like this animation of these attacks was inspired by Mantis.
By the Mantis, yeah, I think it was. It's like the whole look of the scythe is kind of inspired by like a praying mantis. You have to do like some interesting things when working with weapons that like are part of a body, right? Because if this was a scythe, you would be holding it like a 2-handed weapon, probably in like a more fantasy setting. But because the weapon is part of the body, it made sense to have it like this. And yeah, like I said, it's a super mobile weapon, so it does slightly less damage than the axe and the sword, but in my opinion, it's worth it. Okay, so we have some essence here, and at the moment you can basically only combine the essence with your fist, but it now changes how the fist works slightly. So now we actually do this like big ice shockwave, and this is super useful because it can slow enemies if you hit them enough with it. So we can do this, and you can see there's like that orb with the ice effect. And if we filled that, they would get slowed, and then you can actually fill it to a second stage in which they will be frozen, which, makes it really easy to fight them.
This thing with weapons and arms, this is a really cool concept. Like in Arboria, you have symbionts, which are basically weapons, and they are your basic weapon used to fight, and they are your right arm, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Right
arm. Right.
Exactly. There are also mutations which are connected to your left hand, and those are your special skills or spells, right?
Yeah, so they're like your skills. So like the shockwave is on my left hand, and it's like similar on the controller. It's the left bumper does your primary and left trigger does like secondary. And it's the same with weapons. It's like right bumper does your quick and right trigger does your heavy, I guess. I would say basic alternative, actually. That's a better way of wording it. But yeah, so because they're part of your body, it's quite an interesting feature, I think. And it's also makes you have to make some tough decisions when you see a different weapon, because you can't pick a weapon up because it's part of you. So you have to choose if you want to replace the weapon or not. And sometimes, you know, it's really hard to choose because you might have a weapon you like, but there's a stronger version of a different weapon standing in front of you. But that's, you know, random every time, so you never know.
Now I know why this is your favorite weapon, because of this probably double attack at the end.
Yeah, it's great, right? You can also do some really fun things. I don't think I'll be able to showcase it on the flies because they would die too soon, but you can also jump back like that during the combo, because the attacks combo into each other. So like right now I'll push right trigger into right bumper, right trigger to jump back. And I think that's my favorite combo, just because it feels so fluid to me. Although all these ranged enemies are slowly nibbling away at my health. Okay, so oh, this looks slightly more interesting. So there's an ice shockwave, which we just got.
Just another one. Oh, shield.
A shield. So we'll grab that. There's also a sword. So we'll grab both of these so we can showcase some different things. So the sword is the slowest weapon in this build, but it's also the strongest. It also has quite a lot of like AoE attacks, like this spin and stuff. And the shield will actually block enemy attacks, which is quite useful.
Did this block all of damage or just?
It does. It actually it does block all damage.
But it also consumes your mana.
It does. It consumes it the second you put your shield up. So it's kind of hard to keep a shield up. You can also charge at enemies by using the secondary ability. I think there's a plan to actually change the secondary skill, because we felt this was slightly weak compared to the other skills we've got. So I think this is actually changing in, if not the next update, the update after. There's actually some different skills for the shields.
So guys, you hear that? Give us a feedback about the shield.
Yeah. Because
speaking of feedback, we got one question. Will there be any character creation skins that will be coming in future updates? Actually, the character we are playing right now, we probably won't be playing as the similarly looking character next time, right?
No, yeah, most likely not. At the moment, I don't think there are any plans for character customization / skins. The closest we have to skins is the different armor in the game. But this armor also has different mechanics. Like at the moment, I have a heavy leather armor on, and it's like really affecting my movement. Like my roll is really slow and sluggish. So I don't think there's any plans for like skin customization. Because
the characters look different anyway.
Every time you get a different. In theory, you get a different. It depends how your RNG is. Because, like I said, the appearance is based on the traits. So if you somehow get lucky, or like if you get unlucky, maybe, and you get the same trait every time, then you will always have a similar looking troll. But chances are, in the future, it will be less of an issue of trolls looking similar, because you'll be getting new traits added to the game, which will mean new trolls, you know. So, like, I still wouldn't class that as skins personally myself. I would just say you get You'll be getting different traits in updates, which will give you, I guess, different trolls.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
That's okay. This also, the great thing about the shield is when you're holding it up, it actually inflicts the elemental effect onto the monsters that are close enough. But unfortunately, fire beats ice, or is resistant to ice, I should say. So
it's not super effective.
So yeah, it's not building up super quick. What have we got here? We've got an axe again. It's not a special axe, so I think we'll leave it. I think instead we'll just splatter these and try to heal a root, because then we can unlock an NPC in the village.
Okay, done.
So let's try this out. Let's see if I survive. I think I'll be fine. Maybe. But I said that last time, I think.
Right now your mutation is the shield.
Yes, right now.
We have also, I believe we have also tried the shockwave in this gameplay already, and there's also one more, teleportation. I don't believe we had it.
We haven't seen the teleportation yet. If I find it, I will showcase it. If not, I can just sort of explain what it does. It kind of, it does what you expect. The basic skill for it will teleport you forward slightly. So you go quite a decent distance, I think. And the secondary skill actually puts you underground, which makes enemies lose line of sight with you, so they stop attacking you. And it makes you invulnerable, so it's actually really useful. But you can't attack while you're using that skill. So it's good as like a...
We have two different questions here. Yeah. Keep talking, please.
No, it's fine. Go
I
ahead.
have two questions. First is, will there be any female trolls or adult trolls male? And there's this answer, there's no binary.
I guess that's the answer.
They are trolls, you didn't know, Dave.
Yeah, they don't, like, I'm not sure if that's something we'll have to discuss with the team, if there will be like more feminine looking trolls. I mean, it's probably possible. But at the moment, I don't think there's... Oh, that's a nice sword. I don't think there's a plan to add more feminine trolls. But I could be wrong. If there's enough feedback about wanting feminine trolls, I'm sure they can be added. Like,
I would like to draw your attention, guys, on this little fairy. Look at her shape just changed.
Yeah, so
she's more curvy.
Yeah, she's slightly thicker. Because basically, the more Veri you collect, the bigger your fairy gets. Because it's it's a great way to see how full your inventory is very quickly. So without having to open my inventory, I can see that I've collected a fair amount of Veri. Oh, this is not looking good, by the way.
Ooh.
Oh, it's okay. I've got no healing left though, so now I need I need to focus. Last wave.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Let's talk more fight. Oh no, they will put you on fire.
They could. It's possible.
Is there any way to run away?
There is, but I would cancel the event, basically. And I would have to risk going to cancel the event. So I think what I'm going to do is lure the melee ones away. And...
So just as a reminder for everyone who joined us recently, Charlie is stressed because the game features a permadeath, meaning that once you die, you are not going back. You will have to start with a new troll, new Yotun.
18 HP and a dream.
Yes.
Oh, we did it. Okay. But the problem is that we now need to try to finish this floor.
With 18 HP.
With 18 HP. So I'm going to take the light armor so I can dodge a bit better.
By the way, there aren't any items on this floor which you can use to heal yourself? Do we skip something?
There are some items.
Maybe we can find it.
It's possible, but it's it's random. Because this is randomly generated every time, this dungeon. So it's not that I know where any healing items are. It will be, just pure luck if I find one. I don't remember seeing one on this run. Did I?
I think it was in the previous run.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Now we have question. Is this possibility to make the pixie a bit smaller? She's cool like Dragonfly and Spyro, but a bit smaller. She's already a little bigger. Because she
do you mean... Oh, well, we got lucky.
Oh.
Do you mean that the fairy is too big, taking up too much space on the screen? Do you?
Yeah. Maybe there will be another question for that.
I think that's possible to maybe shrink her down a bit. It could also be because at the moment she's very much a work in progress, I would say. She will have a better AI, which hopefully would have her less in your way. But that's like a future thing that we'll be working on.
Yeah, so FXF1XDI who asked this question, thank you for bringing this up, really. The game has just been released in early access, meaning that it will change. The Dreamplant will continue to develop it with the support from community. So if you have any suggestions, ideas, give the game a try. Let us know what you like about it. Let us know what you think could be improved. What are your favorite features, so we know in which direction to go. I'm sure Dreamplant already has mind full of ideas and plan for the future updates, which we'll be informing about, but still, it's an early access and your feedback is valuable to us. So reach out to us anywhere where you can find us, preferably Steam discussions, we're there, and Discord. Drop us a message on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere where you can find us.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. So yeah, we're very happy to take any feedback, and we'll do our best to incorporate whatever we can into the game. So please, get in touch with us. Let us know what you think. Let us, like was said, let us know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll do everything in our power to make the best game we can. So I just want to quickly explain where I am. I actually made it to the checkpoint. This is called the Lock. It's basically like the safe house in between floors. So using this machine here, I can actually send the Veri I've collected back up to the village, which is going to be really useful because if I die, I will then already have 6,000 Veri in the village, which is a lot better than I did last time. So I'll send it. You can see the fairy will actually puke out all of the crystals. Oh. She'll empty her inventory. And then it gets sent off to your village. And they're happy, they do a little cheer. Another great thing about the lock is you get to enhance your troll here. This only affects the troll you're currently using. So right now I can choose all three stats and choose which one I want to upgrade. And you can see on the left side how they affect my stats. So my toughness will give me more HP, more mana, and more damage to my main weapon, and slightly more resistance. Strength will give me more HP and increase my break. And focus will increase my HP, my mana, and my mana regeneration. I think it's probably safe to go... it's a hard one. I like the sound of just going pure strength, but we're going to go toughness here. We're going to try to survive. As
In the
long as I can.
meantime, we also got another question, like how many available upgrades are there? I think we already showcased 2 of mutations. Those are left-hand additions, and those are shockwave mutation and shield mutation. And we will try to find the teleport mutation as well.
I actually have a question about that question.
Yeah.
Do they want to know how many upgrades there are in your village, like permanent upgrades, or do they just mean how many items are there, like weapons and skills? Like, because that's
actually, this is a really good question, because there are 2 layers of the game, right?
Yeah,
It's meta progression village layer,
Mhm.
and there's also a dungeon in which we are right now.
Yeah, because when you're in the dungeon, the things you find down here, like the weapons, you don't get to keep. So I won't have this sword when I go back up. This is just for this run. I can find, for example, blueprints for the sword, and then I'll be able to, I'll have a chance to get the sword at the start of my runs. 1 second. So yes, sorry about that. So yeah, like I said, like weapons and skills right now, they're just for this run in the dungeon, and then you can get stuff in your village that will help you for your next runs.
So it was about items, weapons, and skills.
So at the moment, there's 3 weapons and 3 skills: the sword, the axe, the scythe, and as the weapons, and the shockwave, the shield, and the teleport as the skills. In future updates, we are adding, of course, more weapons and more skills. I also seem to be having some technical lag spikes there, but I think I'm okay now. I don't know how it was on your end, but for me, that was that became a slideshow for a second. Okay, so we've got another route. The great thing is, if we die, now we'll be able to unlock the Weapon Master, and he will be able to hook us up with some new stuff. So maybe I will actually showcase that and actually die.
For purpose.
On purpose. Obviously not because I'm bad at the game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, everything for our viewers, right?
Yeah, of course. So this egg is, it's a bomb, so I probably wouldn't hit those. But they're quite fun to use against enemies, but not so fun. Hey, we got a good enemy. Okay. He can actually kill me.
What about ranged weapons? Are there any?
There's actually plans to add ranged weapons and ranged skills, because they would act slightly different. Ranged weapons, as far as I know, they're still being discussed because it could upset the balance of the game quite a lot to add a ranged weapon in a predominantly melee-based game. But they are something that we are trying to work in, because they will add some a different layer of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is something that's on our radar that we're trying to implement, but it's something that needs a bit more work before we'd be happy with it. Okay, we're dead. Let's go and showcase the cool weaponsmith guy, Symbiont. So again, in case there's any new people on the stream, which I suspect there probably are, since the last time I died. This is your graveyard. This is basically like your high score area. So our troll just did quite well. Collected 6,000 varied. Defeated 87 monsters. Not bad. And we can actually go through our trolls. So this was our first one. You can see I didn't do as well that time. And then these are some placeholder trolls that were put in to show you how it sort of looks.
Is there a limit of these trolls in this leaderboard?
Yes, you can only have 5 on the.
Oh, so you have only top 5 of yours.
Top 5, yes. And that actually affects the whole god situation as well, because they're always looking at your top 5 trolls and they expect you to at least come in the top 5, you know, because you've come in the top 5 before. So they're always expecting slightly more. But as you can see right now, the gods are not angry with us. And I can give him some vary. There you go. And now they're delighted with me. And this actually gives us some really good perks. So we get 2 additional spawning slots, so more trolls to choose from. We get a boost to our stats, 100% chance that we're going to get positive traits, 100% chance we'll get proficiency on the troll, and there's also a chance we get like an epic troll, I guess, like a powerful troll. So let's showcase that, because he will be a good-looking troll, hopefully. And, you know, because we sent a lot of vary, there was a nice big beam there going up to the gods. And yeah, so here's our epic troll. And as you can see, he's got 2 traits. And like I said before, he's a mixture now of Sixth Sense and Seasoned Explorer. So he's got traits like facial traits from both of those mashed in. He's also looking pretty strong. He's got like 20 on his strength. He's looking pretty good. And his proficiency for Scythe is nice, level 2.
Oh, he has break as 22 break.
Yeah, he's got 22 break. This guy is strong. Me good. I think I'm taking him. I think he's the best option here. I don't even need to look at the other trolls, because this guy is the best option. And right now we can actually go to the NPC who's now active. So this guy is the weapon master, and we can talk to him, and then we can start like upgrading things. So in this window we can choose what weapon we want to be waiting for us before we go down into the dungeon. At the moment we can only choose between axes, because we haven't unlocked the blueprint for different weapons, and we haven't increased this guy's upgrades. Like, we haven't upgraded anything with him yet, so we don't have a chance for getting different stuff down waiting for us before we go to the dungeon. So here we can actually upgrade some cool stuff. So we can upgrade to have a second weapon slot, which is really cool, because then you can obviously pick up, like, you could have a sword and a scythe, and then you have like the best, like the fast and the slow heavy hitter. We also have this elemental ability upgrade, which gives a percentage chance for the weapon to have a random element on it. And we have another one that just increases like basic damage for all weapons, which is really useful as well. I think I can take second arm to show that off, actually. So we can deposit the vary. Yep, and then apply it, and then we may as well. Oh, we just got an achievement. Would you look at that? And now we may as well deposit the rest of the vary into something else, because you can't take vary with you down into the dungeon, because it's just for your village.
So what happened if it's gonna use it? What happened?
What if I don't use my vary? When I would go to this to the shaman to go down, he will warn me that I can't take it with me. And once we go down, it will just vanish. It will disappear. We'll have 0. So it's risky, you know. You wanna spend your vary, because once you go down there, you can't take it with you. So definitely try to spend as much as you can. And we can
Yeah,
start.
so I think we managed to answer the question about permanent upgrades.
Yeah, I can actually. I actually have more information about that. In early access at the moment, we have around 20 upgrades in the village total. But more are coming with updates. So at the moment, it's around 20, give or take a few, maybe. But in future updates, we'll have more upgrades that can, give you a better chance down in the dungeon.
Yeah, keep your eyes open. Updates are coming with new upgrades.
Okay, let's see what sequence we get this time. I think that was the same dance we had the first time, right? I think so.
Oh, his eyes are so kawaii.
Yeah, they are. They're very cute.
He looks like a little puppy.
I don't want to spoil this, but we're getting Spartan kicked down there slowly.
So this time there was no place for dab.
There was no place for a dab this time, no. So at the moment, I think it's all the same stuff at the moment until we unlock new blueprints, which you'll unlock by finding the blueprint down in the dungeon. Until you actually complete a blueprint, but then once you have a completed one, you start getting more variety. And obviously, as we update the game and add more weapons and more skills, there will be even more variety of ways that your runs will start. Okay, so new floor. We'll go this way.
We also got a question about the variety of enemies.
At the moment, in early access, we have 3 fly enemies. So there was this bigger fly that we just had here, a ranged fly like this one, and a wasp, which is a melee fly. And we also have 3 humanoid bug enemies, which are the creeper, which is like this. It's a monster on all 4 legs. It's kind of like a frog. He's got a long tongue. He's kind of a mid-ranged enemy. He's quite a hassle to deal with. We've got the striker, which is kind of like a praying mantis, and it will jump you. It's close ranged. It's gonna, it's close range with long range jumps though, so you've got to be careful because it will jump at you and attack you. Also, based on these humanoid enemies, based on their element, teleport, perfect. Based on their element, they also have different attacks as well, which gives some variety to them as well. So, for example, a fire frogger will have a different attack to an ice frogger or a bio frogger. So they have slight differences based on their element as well. But there's striker, frogger, and also pillbug, which is like this defensive. He's kind of like a boxer. He's very close range. But again, he also has some long range charge attacks that you need to watch out for. There's also this issue right here that when you heal roots, you actually you can find already healed roots in the dungeon because you've already reached a certain cap of healed roots. So it's a way to sort of balance the game. Like the next sick roots will be further down. Okay, so let's grab this. So I think that answered the question, mostly.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty sure I got that one. So there's technically 6, but with the elemental differences, it gets slightly higher. There's
Are there
also
plans for adding more enemies in the game,
Yes,
with future updates?
Of course.
Yeah, because we can expect more environments, including new enemies, right?
Yeah, of course. So at the moment there's like technically 6, 7, if you include the mini boss, which I guess you should. And then with the elements, it actually goes up to probably around 15. But as we update the game, we're obviously adding more. So there's already, I know, an additional 3 mobs planned for this setting. And then there's additional settings that have their own mobs as well. So this is like, the first setting, the bug setting. But the next setting will be a different setting. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, what it will be. But it will be a different setting with different mobs. So you can expect a lot of different mobs to fight during your time with Arboria.
A little announcement for everyone on the chat. We have like next 15, maybe 20 minutes for your questions till the end of the stream, so remember to ask. And we have question, what are the locked icons on the HUD means next to H and Y? We have 2 locked icons. Could you tell us something about that?
We have three locked items at the moment.
On the right side also. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so the locked UI element on the left above the teleport is the second skill slot. So like the weapon, I could potentially have 2 skills as well that I could switch between. The other locked slots are for usable items, which more of those will be coming in future updates as well. So at the moment they're locked, but they will be unlocked as we update the game. I should probably also mention that the healing item will also be changing as well, because that will also be affected by elements. So there's a lot of variety based on the color of your equipment as well. But at the moment, those additional locked icons will stay locked for EA until they're updated. But they will be for usable items.
And there's another question about the enemies this time. Will there be armor enemies or fleshy enemies, so that you need different weapons, like corrosive is better versus armor and fire versus flesh or something like that?
It's the way we do that is with the elements. So like you can see these flies are actually fireflies. They have the fire element. So if I had bio, I would be inflicting more elemental damage on them. But if I had ice, I would be inflicting less elemental damage on them. It's quite difficult, I think, to add like a situation where you need, for example, say you needed a sword for like a heavy blocking enemy or something. I think that then would be unfair for players with how random it is based on the weapon you have, So it's kind of a difficult thing to implement something like this and to make it fair for the players. That's why we have the elemental system, because you get the bonuses and the weaknesses, but it doesn't drastically change your ability to fight the mobs. I mean, it's a cool idea though. Like if you had like a hard-shelled enemy that you needed a sword to be able to like break the shell or something, that would be a really cool idea. I just think it would really limit players' abilities during the run. If they didn't have a sword, they would find that enemy really hard, So it's something we can try to work in, definitely. It's like it's a cool idea, and definitely get writing your ideas down in the Discord and on the Steam page and stuff, and we'll do our best to implement them into the game for sure.
Yeah, if you have any cool ideas, if you play the game, if you have any feedback for us and the developers, please feel free to reach out. We're there for you on Steam, Discord, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere. where you can find us. We're waiting for your feedback, for your words of support. Everything you'd like to discuss with us. Feel free to reach out.
And
The game has been released today in Steam Early Access program, meaning that the game will change, that the game will have multiple updates that will add new content, and there will be, I assume, there will be some balance changes. So if you have any feedback on that, share it on our Steam and Discord. Yeah,
there will be a lot of changes. I think that's expected with early access titles. But it's, we definitely we want to hear from you guys what you, like I said, what you like, what you dislike, any ideas you have, and we'll do our best to shape the game with the tribe in mind.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of showing off the teleport skill here, so as you can see it,
Finally
quite flashy. And I can go underground, and he's just going to ignore me, and it gives me a nice chance to strike. So teleport's really fun. It gives you quite a unique play style. Okay, we need to go all the way back. I keep finding dead ends. My bad. But yeah, so as far as I know, we'll be pushing out big updates monthly, as long as everything goes to plan. So make sure you get in touch with us about any ideas you have. Or any concerns you have. If you think that the axe is overpowered, for example, let us know, and we'll balance it the best we can. And obviously, like Lucas said, we'll be doing balance changes all throughout early access, because when you start adding new weapons and stuff to the games, it changes the balance of everything basically. Especially like we had the question about the ranged weapon earlier, right? When a ranged weapon is added, that will probably need a lot of balancing. It'll probably cause a lot of balance changes throughout the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. In such cases, community's input is essential, is crucial.
Of course. You get these little chests like darted around as well. And it's always nice to open up just to see what you get, but I think we've already got that armor. We can compare. Let's see what we got. So we have medium armor, and that is light armor. So it will, we'll be able to move slightly quicker, but we'll be less protected. So I think it's probably safer to stay in my medium armor. I'm still moving okay, and still dodge roll and stuff.
You still have teleports, so
I see. Exactly.
You can be very heavy.
Judging by the YouTube chat, I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of ideas. Here's another one. Will there be enemies, for example snails, that don't do many damage but take a lot of damage to kill them, and they will have a poison trail on the ground for damage?
I like that.
Yeah, so I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of great ideas during early access.
That's a really nice idea for an enemy. At the moment, I don't think we don't have a snail, for example. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what the 3 enemies that are coming in the update are, because I think that will be announced with the thing.
Yeah, let's not spoil it.
Yeah, it will be a good surprise for everyone, by the way.
But there are some slower enemies that will be coming, but they're slower but heavier hitting, I would say. So you need to watch out.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your eyes open. Look for announcements on Steam, Discord, and...
But I really like the idea of the snail. The snail's a fantastic idea. Like a really slow, heavy armored thing. That's really cool. Like we said earlier as well, there's multiple settings to this game, so there's even a chance this could be an enemy on a later setting, So further down in the dungeon, which would be cool as well.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I can also quickly showcase, now I can switch between my weapons. So I've got this fire sword, which is a stone sword, which is like the second tier of weapons. I also got this stone axe as well. So we can actually switch between them because I upgraded with the symbiont. And I got lucky from that chest, so let's try this new sword at this fire sword. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, that's much stronger. Oh yeah, that feels better. That feels nice. Okay. Oh. But yeah, so please all feedback, get it directed to us as in any form you can, any social media, and we'll happily do all we can to get it into the game.
Another comment. Evolva plus roguelike plus Souls-like sweet combo. And you can't really disagree with that, because Arboria looks amazing. And I had a possibility to play it before the release, and I can confirm that the feeling of combat is really, one of a kind. And you should totally try it. So, Charlie, how would you compare, I don't know, Arboria to other roguelite games? For me, like the first thing that comes to my mind is the third-person perspective. It's not really common.
Yeah, it's not common in roguelikes. Yeah, I think that's something we wanted to do because basically everyone in the studio enjoys third-person combat because it's quite flashy. There's a lot to take in, and it just feels great usually, in my opinion, third-person combat. But we're like, from a roguelike perspective, we're like inspired by titles like Dead Cells, for example, which is a fantastic game, fantastic roguelike. And the way Arboria does roguelites is that everything you find down in the dungeon is procedurally generated, so it's random what you'll get, and you have all this sort of random the randomness to it, but we also keep the like you said, like the progression from the village to make it easier for players as well. I think it's quite similar to how Dead Cells deals with it as well. They you can upgrade and get all your stuff at the start of the run as well in Dead Cells. So I think I heard Souls-like as well, right? I heard this Souls-like comment. I'm always hesitant to say Souls-like because people expect a lot of things when you say Souls-like. They expect a really specific type of combat, like dodge rolling. They expect it to be brutally hard as well, I would imagine. But for me, I say we're Souls inspired, more so by like Bloodborne. I know that our game designer and combat animator / designer, they're very into their Souls games, but they take a lot of inspiration from like Bloodborne. That's why we have, a variety of different things like that you won't see in a Souls game as well. But I have seen a lot of people compare it to Souls games. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's really like a compliment, really, to be compared to a Souls game, because they're also fantastic games.
Yeah, so definitely players who enjoy roguelites will also enjoy Arboria, but also players who like the steep combat in games.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Enno asks, what pushed you into that kind of bio all-around setting for the game?
The setting is a hard question to answer. It's a very hard question, but I can give you my best take on it. So this is actually like my boss, the CEO of Dream Plant, is also the art director at the company. He's responsible for a lot of what you see. Basically, the whole design of the world is his vision. And every time I've asked him, like, where did it come from? He always tells me that this was like a dream he had, basically. It just came from his head. Like, this is a world that he created, and it's really hard to it's really hard for me to say where the art direction came from. We said earlier, it has Norse mythology aspects as well, but it's less found in the art style. I think it's more lore and stuff is has like the Norse effect. But yeah, so art style is really hard. It's a really hard thing to answer, actually, because it's from the mind of our art director.
But I still hope this
Yeah, I think
answer
that
will
suffices.
satisfies the question.
Yeah.
Okay,
But,
we have...
a lot of people always ask, like, what are the inspirations, and it's really hard to give an inspiration for the style, like, because he dreamt it up. But yeah, so difficult for me to say. But yes, you sound like you have another question. Go ahead.
Lucas, do we have any
Oh, no,
questions?
no, not really.
So we have
Yeah.
we have few more minutes for questions from you guys. And by the way, do we skipped any mechanics of this game? No,
I think I covered everything.
Mhm.
I've been talking, so it's
yeah. I think
it's hard to remember everything I've done. But I'm pretty sure the main, if I was to give you a really quick 10-second summary, maybe not 10-second because
yeah.
I don't know if I can talk that quick. But if I was to give you a quick summary of the game, I would say that
Yeah, maybe at the end of the stream, maybe we can just make.
Okay, so at the end I'll make a quick summary.
So
in the
next few minutes then.
I've got my PAX talk. My PAX.
Oh
my
yeah,
PAX
because
summary.
with Arboria we've been in many different events all around the world.
Yeah, we had the pleasure to go to PAX East, which was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of hands-on feedback with the game in an earlier build than this, and it was really nice to see lots of different player feedback. And we've already been working on implementing some of the things that players mentioned, which I think it's good to let players know that we're listening. Okay, so yeah, at the moment, the main events you'll find in the dungeon are like the chest and the roots. I'm actually feeling okay for equipment, but I'll just do the event to show you more waves of enemies. I'm not sure what floor we're on because I've kind of forgot.
I think it is the second one.
Are we on the second? I feel like we're on the first still on this run.
No, because you've been on the first. Just put your.
Because I feel like if I look at this map, this still feels like the first floor to me. I could be wrong. But
So
I feel like
maybe we can finish the floor, just make a summary, and we will wait for the few last questions.
No problem. So let me do that.
There's a question. How long will you say a complete run will be? Oh, guys, it's a very tough question during the early access.
How long will a complete run be? In early access, it depends on the player's skill as well. So if you're good at the game, you can get through quite quickly through the current build, that is. But in the future,
but if you're me and you lack some skill, then it's gonna take you hours, really.
the thing is that I can explain this. I think I'm allowed to say this. At the moment, we're in the first setting. The first setting will have 5 floors, and then you'll have a boss fight. There'll also be a mini boss in between there. And then you would go into the second setting. Again, 5 floors and a boss. Third setting, 5 floors and a boss. Fourth setting, 5 floors and a boss. So there's a lot of content to get through. So it's really hard to give an exact estimate of how long a run will take. I'm sure once once the game has been updated quite a few times, there's loads of new weapons and skills added to the game, and all the floors are in. I'm sure players will find ways, like they'll find good loadouts and preferred playstyles, and that they will find ways to get through the game as quick as possible. But it's really hard for me to say like an approximate runtime because not all the content is implemented yet. So I can't give you an exact. For me, I can be like this setting, like at the moment, the content we have in early access at the moment, I can complete this in around an hour, I think, if I'm like really trying hard and running through everything.
Yeah, if you're a developer, you could rush it in an hour.
Yeah, but I don't know how players will find it, to be honest. So we will see. And because more content will be coming in updates, and more floors will be added in updates, and like bosses and stuff, the time it takes to complete a run will be going up and up and up. So,
and how crucial part play the permanent updates that you can acquire in the village? How they influence your run?
The upgrades in the village actually play a big part in making you stronger. It basically just makes you stronger before you've even got into the dungeon. So it's super useful to upgrade your village and to buy all the upgrades. But there's also when I was at PAX, for example, there were people from the Souls community that said they weren't going to upgrade anything because they wanted the hardest challenge all the time, basically. So you can choose how you want to play in this way as well. I think the village upgrades make a big difference because already I've only unlocked one upgrade, but I can have 2 weapons, which gives me different playstyle, throughout the whole run anyway. So I think that's already a big upgrade. But, they give you stuff like increased damage. They give you better chances of starting with stronger weapons. So I think it's, it's a good thing to have to upgrade your village.
I think we have time for one last question, and that's can you pause, save after floor, and come back later, or you need to do a full run straight to the boss?
You can save, but you have to get to this area I'm in now, which is the checkpoint between floors. So once you get to this area, you can exit the game, and it will keep your save here. So when you start the game back up again, you'll be in the same run from this area. So that's a good question, actually. You don't have to do the whole game in one run. We don't want to force players to do that.
Yeah.
So there is a way to save and to start from this area. But for example, if you were in the middle of the floor and you turn the game off, it will start you at the start of the floor again. So that's how that works at the moment.
I'm feeling super kind today. So the last one question: any lore to uncover for lore seekers? And I think I can already say that you won't be disappointed, although we cannot say much.
You
right?
can. I would say the lore will become a bigger aspect as the updates come. Right here is like this hologram machine, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but you can come here and see a familiar face from the start of the game, and follow his journey through the dungeon as well. And there are other lore elements as well. There's also like diary notes that you can find around the dungeon as well. Similar to the blueprints, you can find diary notes, and they have a lot of information on them as well. So there are, but I can't spoil anything because the story, as we update the game, the story will become more and more interesting. I can promise you that.
Okay, so that was the last question. Thank you everyone for joining us at this stream. Thank you for commenting, for sharing, all the kind words, suggestions, and stuff. And I think now it's time for Charlie to convince you during 10 seconds why you should get
A bit
Arboria
longer, but yeah.
today.
Okay, I'm ready.
Right
I'm
now.
ready. Okay, so Arboria. By the way, this was my pitch at PAX. Okay, so you ready? Arboria is a third-person roguelike with Souls-inspired combat. At the start of every run, you play as a randomly generated troll. You go underground, fight monsters, collect Vary, heal Father Tree's roots, die, and do it all over again until you get strong enough to get to the deepest depths of Durnar. That's my 10-second pitch.
Nice, a perfect pitch. So thank you again, Charlie, for being here with us, for playing Arboria, explaining its mechanics and stuff. And guys, the game is already available on Steam in early access. You can get it already. You can share your feedback, suggestions. Come join us on Steam and Discord, and have fun.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy it, and we'll be listening to everything you have to say. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to seeing the tribe grow.
Thank you, Charlie,
Cool.
for joining us today. I want to thank you for everyone who asked questions, everyone who been there with us. Have a nice day, and see you in Arboria.